I'm a fourth-generation Japanese American, and my grandparents were all farmers. And they had their own little Japanese communities that they lived in. During that time, there was a lot of discrimination and jealousy.
And as an immigrant, you're looking for neighborhoods, you're looking for grocery stores, you're looking for places that you can go and get things that you're familiar with. JACL was instrumental in being able to help people from Japan in particular to be able to assimilate into the American life.
In 1929, when JACL was formed, it was actually formed by a group of young professionals. I say professionals, but we're talking about Nisei, who had gone to college, actually gone to postgraduate school. They were doctors and lawyers, but because our nation was so segregated, so biased and prejudicial in a lot of ways, they weren't able to apply the trade.
Especially at a time where there was the first generation that just came, they're new to the new country, they didn't speak the language. More importantly, all the odds were against them.
For them, I think there was a lot of security in being together as a group, and the JACL was one of those groups that was successful in doing that.
So to have an organization like the JACL, to be able to help deal with advocacy, to help deal with discriminatory practices, particularly in California.
So they were in Florin and Tulare when the war broke out. They got sent to the assembly centers, and then eventually, for some reason, both of those areas were sent to Arkansas.
What I remember specifically, not only that they lost everything because of the 9066 executive order, was specifically, she was actually a junior at USC. And I can't imagine me going through school and all of a sudden I'm given a public notice that I gotta leave my school and the last 3 years of my hard work that I gotta go.
A lot of people, had to get reestablished. They had lost their homes because, they were locked up, so they couldn't make their mortgage payments.
How'd they go out and get financing? Who bought the truck? How'd you get the lawnmowers, the weed whackers?
They did have hard work and they did have skills.
San Diego chapter JACL started a credit union.
Things still weren't good. There's still a lot of race prejudice.
They couldn't go to regular banks.
But I can imagine if you're Japanese American coming back to the West Coast and you're just running into troubles, just setting up your business or trying to get living accommodations, that it's the JACL that you could turn to. And
being able to have events, to be able to bring the returning Japanese and Japanese Americans, Issei's and Niseis together.
Back then, I remember JACL was like in charge of everything.
The San Diego picnic has been going on for like 68 years now. I remember as a kid going to these picnics and really enjoying myself, and that's the reason why I personally have been involved year after year after year.
So in 1958, the San Diego chapter started their own scholarship program, and they gave out a couple scholarships, and they actually used the raffle from the picnic to raise funds for those two scholarships.
I was on the JACL board when I was 21 years old. So being a board member, advisory board member of the San Diego JACL, has been like 48 years. I
always joke that, oh heck, I just joined JACL when I was a kid because I wanted to play on their basketball team, and which is partially true, because I was, 15 years old, and yeah.
The San Diego chapter JACL, we were the host for two national conventions. One in 1966, who happened to, the chair of the board happened to be my uncle Tom Ranigahara, and then I chaired the one in 1990. So of the two national conventions in San Diego, it was chaired by me or a relative of mine. So I'm very, very proud of that, to kind of demonstrate how active some of our family members were.
The VFW, was formed by the Nisei veterans after the World War II, and what happened with a lot of the organizations like VFW and the Japanese Historical Society is, when you're new, you need like seed money or you need a lot of help.
Japanese American Historical Society of San Diego was started in part with a sponsorship from the San Diego JACL.
Well, JACL, had money in the bank because the Nisei were so frugal, with the money. Most of the work for the organization were done by volunteers.
Union of Pan Asian Communities was formed in 1974, 73. It was needed at that time because you had all these different Asian ethnic groups, and we needed an umbrella organization.
JCL, having received the property from the Chula Vista Gakuen, and having that income from that income property, they actually ended up being the fiscal agent for the forming of UPAC. So they provided an interest-free loan to UPAC to get them on their feet and get them started, and proud to say that UPAC is still going strong today. I was really pleased with being a part of the San Diego chapter was that the Nisei welcomed the Sansei to be members and to be active members, to be involved.
The importance of the JCL here in San Diego is that we're educating people about my grandparents, my families, and other JCL members.
We have young people like Elisa and Jonathan and Tyga and Nico. Those are individuals I think are just hungry to be able to get involved in something.
We all have a voice, and given what's going on in our society and culture today, the JCL is not just about inclusion for Japanese American, but rather for all people.
And what we're doing is creating future leadership.
In fact, our whole national board at this time are 30-somethings. So it's really good to see, that the future is bright for the JCL.
One of my cousins, Randy Sasaki, passed away a few years ago from cancer. At the funeral, his request was, don't send flowers, don't send money to the family. Think about contributing to the JCL. And that totally shocked me.
I'm proud of the work that you're seeing from the next generation of JCLers.
It's important for us, especially because of our history, to be able to stand up for other underrepresented groups that are being attacked. And it's the LGBTQ community, it's the Muslim American community. Right now, it's the immigrants that are being attacked, right? And so for us to be able to stand side by side with those groups, I think is important, and that's what the JCL does.
The gala provides an opportunity not only for us to raise even more money for a scholarship program, but to also select a group that we can honor. And it's usually a group that doesn't get recognition typically.
It's great to have these people at our gala, to meet them in person, to thank them for what they've done, but just to read about and to understand the things that they accomplished in their lifetime.
We do other great events, like we just had our film screening of Our Lost Years.
It was very emotional, being able to see the footage and the interviews.
We had over 200 plus people for that screening, not even counting the screenings that we're having across the country.
And it opened my eyes even more to all the struggles and the obstacles.
It's very impactful when people see film opposed to hearing stories because they can see it.
Well, to see some of the interviews, Floyd Morey and Norm, and having them talk about how, some of their experiences. And then we had a local person, Ruth, talk about how she just cried when, they were at the Staples. And then to think that my mom and my dad and my aunt and uncles went through the same thing. But I never really heard any of that. But to see the emotion that they went through and how they explained it, that gives me the inspiration to want to continue to help out however I can with documentaries, because that's a way in which you tell the story, right? And by being able to see a documentary that really touches you, when you're able to see, God, my grandparents went through that, my mom and dad went through that. And to be able to see documentaries where you see all these men in uniform, being able to, proud, and I'm saying, my dad was there.